Hello everyone, welcome back to Creative Hands platform. I'm so glad to have you here. Actually, somebody sent me this turban and she asked for the video, so I'm dropping a video because of the person that asked for it. So to make this turban, I'll be using what you see in my hand now. Where I am over here, we call it art bone. Art bone, as in bone, at bone. So that's what I'll be fixing into the turban to create that. And to cover it, we have two ways of covering it, just that for the particular style sent to me, this is the way it was covered, so that's why I'm using this. So you can either wrap it or you can do the method I'm doing now. So the first thing I'm doing is I'll just place the bone inside the material and then sew it. This is to enable me get the exact size. So after that, I'll pull the bone out and then I'll trim out the part that I have sewn. I'll trim it out. Now after trimming it out, I'll simply turn it over. You agree with me that the part I'm trimming there will be rough, and you don't want that rough part to show. You want it to be completely smooth. So to do that, you will need to turn it over. And to do that, to help me turn it over, is the pin you see in my hand now. This pin, I will just use the pin to pass it through, pull it out, and make sure that I flip out the right part of this material now. So right now I am done turning it over. It's time for me to insert the bone to it, the bone. So I will simply pull it in gradually and carefully as well. I'll pull it in. If you look at the video very well, as at the time I was sewing the material to get the size for the bone, you see that by the time I finished sewing, it looks like the bone was a little bit longer than the material. Yes, but as I'll be fixing it in now, you'll be surprised that the material will become longer than the bone. Yes, that's just the reason I did not bother. I even had excess material after fixing it in. So how did I achieve that? I achieved that by pushing in the bone. So to enable me do that, I'll first of all close one part of that edge there. That part I'm using machine to close now. You can actually close it using your hand needle. Assuming you are not working with machine, you can use your hand needle to close it. So once I finish closing it, I'll just start pulling it in very tight. Keep pushing and pushing and pushing, keep pushing. So as I keep pushing, the bone will continue to fold. It will start to coil. It will start to coil. So the harder you push, the more it will coil. That's just the secret behind this particular style. The harder you push, the more it will coil. So you see it there that it is folding on its own. That's because I'm pushing it in. I'm pushing very hard. You understand? So by the time I'm done, you see I have excess material. So the part I'm holding there now is where the very bone you saw that was excess before ended. Now the material became excess. Do you understand? So it happened as a result of me forcing it in, and it will help you when you want to fold it. It will be easy. I'm sorry, I did not say the type of material I was using. I'm using yash pad material. Yeah, yash pad material. That's what I'm using. It's a kind of polo material. All right, for this part you see in my hand now is a loop. Loop, is a loop that I want to use to hold the bone together. So it measured 4 inches, and then I just sew it together and also turn it over. So now this particular part you see in my hand is for the turban, and I'm making a body pleat, a body pleated turban. You understand? So the size of my material is length. The length is 26, and then the width, which is the wideness, is 28. Usually I work with 28. I know it's big, but I really like working. If I'm making body pleat, sometimes I work with 28 by 28 or 30 by 30. The 28 is perfect. So for me now, I'm working with 28 by 26, and you can see the way I'm creating my body pleat. If you want it very close, then you have to use very close distance. If you don't want it too close, you use something that is a little bit far apart. So most times when I do my body pleat, I use 2 inches, or if I want it very close, I use distance of 1 inch. All right. So for this particular what you see in my hand now, I want to use it to create a bow tie. So to create the bow tie, I cut my material 14 inches by 13, though it wasn't intentional, but that was what I got. So I sew it, fold it, and then sew it like 4 corners. I left a opening that allowed me to flip it over, after which I fix inside it. What you see, that white thing you saw, is a breast tube, just to give it weight. I fix it inside it, and then I close that part, the remaining part, and then I started folding the way you see me folding now. So you've seen the fold, you've seen the fold. So I'm just creating a pleat, bow tie, bow. I'm creating a bow. All right, I'm creating a bow, and I don't want it to be too long, hence it was 13. So you know, when you fold 13 into 2, it will give you 6.5. If possible, it can even give you 6, because I sewed around it, you understand? So it became short, not too long, not very very short. So I prepared this bow now. That's the bow. I've prepared the bow, and again, that is the loop. That's the loop. That's what I'm going to use to hold the bow together with the bone to the turban. Now remember that I have created the turban. I have sewn the what do I call it now, body pleated part, but I have not closed it as turban. Now before I close it as turban, you must now watch what I am doing, because if you don't do this aspect before closing it, you might have some challenges. So it's very necessary that you finish this particular aspect before closing it. So what I am doing right now is that I am folding the bone to get the size I want. So how high you want it, how many fold you want it, completely depends on you. So how high you want it, I'm repeating it, how many fold you want completely depend on you. You can do 2, you can do 3, you can do 4, you can do 5, as many as you want. You understand? It is personal. So when I'm folding, I fold to ensure that I have some level of distance. I have some level of what distance, and also I try to see that the distance I am using kind of want to be like even. I want to like get equal distance from every part. Is that okay? So as much as possible, when I fold, I look at the distance between the first one and the second one. So the distance between the second one and the third one should be almost the same distance between the first one and the second one. The distance between the third one and the fourth one should also almost be the same, since I don't measure it, you understand, should almost be the same with the distance between the second and third, just like that. Is that okay? Is that okay? All right, so this is it. When I finish folding now, I'll simply use my needle and thread to secure it and make sure that it is intact, because if you don't secure it, you cannot vouch, you cannot say yes, I am done folding. I will just, once you leave it, it will scatter in short. So as much as possible, you have to ensure that it's properly secured. And again, it has to be properly secured because this is how you will leave it while attaching it to the turban. So it's very necessary that you ensure that it is properly secured. Very important. So this is how I intend to hold it to the turban. Is that okay? So this is how the loop is going to join both the bow, the bone, the bow, the bone to the turban. So right now, if you, this is the turban. This is the turban. I have not carved out the turban shape at all. I have not carved out the turban shape. So the first thing I'm going to do is to show you the things that I will be needing again. The first one you see there is the band for the turban. This is the bow. This is the bone. And then this is the turban body. So you can count the whole parts that we are using. We are using the loop, the base, the turban, the bowl, and then the bone that has been prepared. So the first thing I will do again now, or the next thing I will do, is to attach, I'm going to attach the band of the turban to the turban. I'll start with that. So I will attach the band to the turban. So after fixing the band to the turban, I'll simply locate the midpoint of this turban now, the center, the middle, the middle. Then, because that part is where I will fix the loop, what you see in my hand now, the loop. And then after, I will not just sew the loop, but I will put both the loop, the bow, and the bone together. I will hold them at once. I will hold all of them at once. Do you understand? So that's the middle now. But I'm going to be fixing both the loop, the bow, and the bone together. This part is very important, so I will advise that you watch carefully if you really want to know the style. If you are interested in the style, I will advise that you watch this part carefully. So when I place the bone like this, when I place the bone, I'm just cutting off the excess material. I did not cut it before. So when I place the bone like this, I will bring the bow, B-O-W. I will bring the bow and place it together with it. I'll place it together. Then I will use the loop to wrap it. I'll use it to wrap it. Get them together. And then, now when I get them together, I will make sure I arrange it, make sure that it's in position, is well placed. You understand? And then I'll sew. Now, before I go ahead to sew, I'll first of all tie this bow I will tie it to the bone. Very important. I will tie the bow to the bone. It's very important. If not, it will be separating. So you tie the bow to the bone. Is that okay? So now it is ready. It's ready. So I'll bring the turban back. I'll repeat the process that I have shown you before. I'm going to repeat it. So right now you see that the bow is together with the bone, and then the loop, I'm using it to wrap it. And you see that the turban is still very flat. I have not curved out the shape of the turban. So after holding it like this together, I'm going to flip it over, and then I will use the hook, I will use the loop, yes, to join to the band in the base. Remember that I joined the turban to the band. So there is a part where you have the band and the turban meeting. So that same part is where I will use this loop now to clip together, and I will sew it again. So I'm going to sew this loop to the part where the edge, where the band and the turban itself was fixed together before. You understand? So I'm going to sew it together. When I'm done sewing that part, ensuring that it's very tight, I will take it to my weaving machine and just weave it to cut it off. You understand? But it's going to close it for me. The weaving machine will help me to close it. So it's a little bit thick, so I'm finding it a little bit difficult to sew. So if you are not using sewing machine, you can as well do it using your hand needle. But for me, the sewing machine, or my sewing machine, was perfect, and it was able to sew it. So you can see it now. It's sewn. That's the edge I'm trying to explain to you. This is the band, and this is the part where they were joined together. So the same part I used to join the loop now. So if you look at it now, it's very tight, it's well seated, it's balanced. So that part now I will cut it off, though I'm still going to weave it. I've told you before that I will weave it, so you take that. I think you should remember that. So right now, another very important aspect of this style is the fact that we need to sew it to form a turban shape now. So with all this load in it, it will want to look a little bit difficult, though it's not going to be difficult because I have not finally pinned down, I've not pinned the design down completely, so I can still, like, it's still within my reach to like twist it out, bring it in and all of that. So just to like show you the length that I'm going to use, I told you before that this was about 28 by 26 and all that, but the only size I will need here is 22. So when I fold it to 22, you know it will give me 11 now. So if you look at the turban at this point now, you see that I have pulled out the style. I've been able to push it a little. When I finish pushing it, it will relax for me to be able to sew. You can see how I stylishly pull it out there so that I can have the turban itself ready for me to sew. Is that okay? All right, so I'm just going to sew the turban through. So when I'm sewing, there's something I do that I will always want to explain to my lovers and my viewers. I like to like extend the turban, especially at the back. So you see that at the beginning I used 22, which you understand, which will be 11, but you will now see that at the ending part I'm using everything. So I told you that this thing was 28 before, so I'm using the whole 28 at the back. Do you see it? So it's just for the base that I'm using 22. Apart from the base, I use above that 22. Why? This will make the turban to fall, you understand, at the back. it will make it to fall. It will not make it to like hook to the top. I've seen some people when they finish making this body pleat, the body pleat cannot step down. That's because you did not use this method. You use the 22 you use for the beginning, and some people will even use 20, that is 10, and just run it through. It will become so narrow that it cannot fit into the head. That's just it. So when I'm doing my own, I only consider the fitness of the front, after which I allow the back part to fall. So eventually I will use the whole 28. Is that okay? Like I always say, some people say I talk too much in my videos, so I want to like stop talking now. I want to believe that at this point you have followed me, and that when you watch the remaining part of this video, you'll be able to comprehend whatsoever I am doing. Is that okay? So that is all for today's class. You can just see the turban is out and it's so beautiful. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so. It's just a way of telling YouTube that you love what I'm doing. And then secondly, if you love this video, please just give it a thumbs up. Is that okay? Just give it a thumbs up. And then if you have any question, do well to drop it at the comments part. I'll respond to it. I told you, I said this particular style I'm doing was actually sent by a subscriber who said she needed the tutorials. Is that okay? So you can drop anything for me on the comment box and I will respond to it.